Welcome to another episode of the PLA podcast, Shailaja. I'm so grateful to have you on here as our guest of the day. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sonia. It's great to have that one-on-one podcast with you. I'm very much looking forward to it.
It's such a treat, truly, to be able to interview you. You've been someone with such empathy, such an embodiment of doing the work, so committed to your growth, a deep level of presence and an incredible intelligence. It's such a treat. And I'd love to formally introduce you to our audience so they can get a little bit more of an insight of your background and your story before we jump into today's interview. Meet Shailaja Gummudhavelly, cloud architect and staff software engineer with over 19 years of experience designing scalable, secure, and high-performance systems, has driven digital transformation initiatives across Macy's, Coach handbags, and Kraft Foods, shaping the future of retail and enterprise systems. Known for architecting multi-region cloud deployment, streamlining returns processes, leading cross-functional teams to deliver impactful cloud-native solutions, her story is rooted in perseverance, adaptability, and lifelong learning. Shaped by early experiences that taught her teamwork and conflict resolution, passionate about mentorship, simplifying complexity, and solving business challenges through intelligent technology solutions. A strong advocate for growth through resilience, Shailaja continues to blend technical mastery with emotional intelligence in leadership. Today, we'll dive into her journey, her evolution as a leader, and her vision for the future of cloud architecture and intelligent systems. Shailaja, welcome once again to the PLA podcast.
Thank you, Dunya. Thanks for the intro.
What an incredible background. Like when we read through this, I'm thinking, what got you to this place in your career to have moved through so many experiences and working for these major companies on these big projects? I'd love for you to take us back in time to where it originally all started.
Sure. Uh, I've come from a humble background, back from India, where I grew up in a joint family with 15 people under the same roof. And the main education streams at the time were the two, as you still hear in many Indian families, like whether you do engineering or you become a doctor. So I've chosen the path for to pursue my engineering degree. But after that, I fell in love with the technology, and then became curious on how these systems work. Wow, they make things easier and simple for everyone to make their lives better. So technology is everywhere. And I started my career in as a trainee in I get global solutions, and then slowly worked my way to learn many technologies as I worked on different projects and with different people and mentors who I'm always grateful for sowing those foundations and keys on building better code. How do you think big? How do you make the system simple so that's easy to build as well as easy to maintain? So there I have those humble backgrounds as well as strong foundation, which I still keep with me and value it for until today and for the rest of my life.
Wow.
And after working in IG Global Solutions, and I worked for Kraft Foods, and later came to United States after marrying my husband. And here I worked at Coach Handbags in New York City for a few years, and then later moved to Atlanta. Uh, and since then, been working with Macy's Technology. And I just want to call out all the people who I've made friends with during these 19 years of journey, and always cherish their values and what I learned from them.
It's beautiful. And it's so touching. I love that, we're just starting this podcast and you're already, highlighting those people that were instrumental along your journey and really made this possible, and those beautiful relationships that you built throughout your career and throughout this time.
Yes. Yes, we can never forget them.
Absolutely. I'd be curious to know, I'd love, if you were to take us back in time, and what is one piece of advice you wish you knew at the beginning of your career, knowing everything that you've known now?
Yes, there are several. that I learned. But one key thing I want to point out now is don't get too comfortable with your job.
Mm.
Don't get too comfortable with what you're doing on that day or in that job. Don't get too comfortable with the application or system, with the team, with the company, with anything. So if you are too comfortable, then you will be doing the same thing again and again, day after day. You will not try anything new. But unless you try new things and fail and learn, you will become more resilient and you will experience more things in life, whether it be in personal or professional life. Always try new things. Be adventurous. Don't fear to fail. So that's the biggest lesson I would tell myself if
Absolutely.
I had to go back 10 years, 15 years. I was like, I wish I did this before.
Yeah, I think it's such a powerful insight and it's such a powerful lesson, that piece of advice. And it's actually what I love about it is it's implementable at any moment in our career. Like everyone listening now could say, what is one decision I could make today that would allow me to step more into that courage, more into that vulnerability, more into that growth, more into that adventurous side that would probably open up a lot of doors and opportunities, even simply through experience and trial and error. I think there's definitely something there. And obviously, the earlier we start to implement this, the better it is, truly.
Exactly.
I'm curious. And this is a personal question. I'm just now hearing your background and story. What was what was an industry that spoke to you more, and what did you learn from the difference between, because both of them touch on retail but very differently, from fashion retail to food and retail? I'd be really curious to know your relationship to both industries and how was it to you?
Yeah, retail is the most closest to the customer,
Mm,
where every product we build is having some impact to the customer, whether it be selling items, selling uh, merchandise, food, or anything. That's the closest that you can get to.
mm,
And I had the privilege to be in this retail industry all through my career. So when I worked in craft foods, it was all about merchandising and then procuring items for manufacturing and all. And when I was in Coach handbags, I was again in merchandising division, and I was building crystal reports or reporting solutions
wow.
for gross margin planning team.
Mm,
And
wow.
then when I came to Macy's, that was the experience that my Macy's colleagues found interesting. And then I got the same position again in the merchandising division. So merchandising is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So I was working for in the private brands division for Macy's, where you have several uh, brands which are owned by Macy's.
Wow.
These are not sold out elsewhere, like old, like let's say Tommy Hilfiger, right? That
Mm,
you can find that in multiple stores, department stores. But these brands are specific to Macy's. So I was still in the merchandising private brands division when I started in Macy's, and then later worked in different departments across Macy's. So retail is ev- it's in my career. You can't separate retail from my career.
it's in your DNA.
Yes,
At this point, it's part of who you are. It's part of all of this experience that has shaped you truly.
yes,
Oh, and no conversation is true and authentic without challenges, right? So I'd be really curious to know what were the major challenges of your own career? I'm sure so many people are going through these major changes as industries are changing so rapidly now. And so many times when we're going through difficulties in our own careers, we think we're the only ones. And so for me on the PLA podcast, it's been so important to shine light on our own moments of challenges in our own careers. What were they for you?
yeah. So the challenge was again the it's also related to staying in your comfort zone.
Mm, yeah.
So as I said, you will not learn new things or grow out of grow in your career if you are so much attached to the comfortable job that you're currently doing.
It's true.
So the challenge that I faced was uh, I wasn't so courageous to try new things or speak up for myself like
Mm,
15 years ago.
wow.
I didn't have that clarity on, hey, what are my aspirations or my career aspirations,
Interesting.
whether
Yeah.
it be in the technology space or what should I be doing in my life, and is my current job and efforts that I'm putting there, are they aligned to my career goals?
Mm,
So that gap only widens if you don't steer your path in the right direction.
mm. Yeah.
So that was one biggest challenge. And then I learned it the hard way, but better late than never. So there's always time when you realize that. And then
Mm.
when you realize, it is then important to take some action, steer,
Yes.
steer your mind towards that.
I love
So
this. I think it brings up this whole piece of it's never too late. And the importance is if there is a level of awareness, this is the time to take action. It then becomes to the detriment of being aware and not taking action. I think there's something really, really key from what you just shared.
yes, yeah, and the challenges are about that gap. First, identify that there is a gap.
Yeah.
So if you don't know the problem, then there is no solution, right? You won't even work towards it. So first, understanding that there is a problem itself is a huge task. Or you already solved 10% or 20% of the problem just by identifying what the problem is.
Absolutely.
So having that career goal
Mm,
and make sure your work aligns to that is the first thing.
mm,
And if it's not aligning, then talk to your people leader. Don't be afraid to talk to them about that your current job is not aligning towards your career goal and you want to do something different, or
mm.
find a new project outside of what you are currently working on, and have that courage to talk to them. If you don't talk, then who else is going to talk for you? So these are like hard realizations that I came to know over the last few years, and then I started working on them.
I love it. It makes me think of a Mel Robbins quote that says, "No one's coming to save you."
Yeah, so
And
true.
and it's such a tough realization. I'm curious, a lot of women in corporate, especially in their early years, struggle to speak up in certain opportunities or in certain situations, whether they're in a meeting, on a new project, or in a new corporation. I'd be curious to know, what would you suggest they start with when they're afraid of speaking up? Because there must be tools and ingredients that have helped you to be able to break open or break free from that.
Yes, I had that hesitation to talk to people in meetings, and I was holding to my thoughts, thinking that, hey, maybe this is the night, not the right time to talk. Maybe I might sound stupid if I just say about this and what's going on in my mind. And then someone else would say the same thing. I was like, what was I holding on to? Why didn't I express?
Mm.
So just having those ideas and thoughts but not expressing is equivalent to not having those thoughts at all.
Mm. Oh, that is so good.
So,
I want everyone listening to pause on that. Having those thoughts and not sharing them is just as bad, as is equal to simply not even having them. And I think you're so right. If you have an insight, if you have a question, if you have a suggestion, share it. And if you do not share it, it's as if you didn't even have it. And there's so much value in putting it out there and taking the risk of looking ridiculous, even just for a moment, because I'm sure there is value in your share. If you're thinking it, if you're feeling it, if you're sensing it, there's probably someone else in the room that is. And if not, maybe it's needed. That perspective is needed more than ever.
yes. Yep. And it days, years just passed by, holding on to those thoughts and thinking that, overthinking, right? Overthinking, maybe I'm not doing something right, or maybe I shouldn't be saying this, maybe I shouldn't be talking about this to my leadership. So holding on to all those thoughts and going down that overthinking cycle, it's not going to do any good.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
better say it out, and you will learn
And leave.
90% of the time it will go the positive way.
Yes, yes, and clearing out that mental real estate that could be used for so many more productive things than worrying, overthinking, regretting, etc.
Exactly. That overthinking cycle it's a bad one.
It
It's a
sure
bad
is,
one.
and I am sure so many people listening are like thinking, Me too, been there and done that." I'm curious to know, especially with your background and expertise and everything your career has moved through, what is your take on AI right now? I know it's the hot new topic, and so many people have shared different various opinions on it and perspectives. I'd love to get yours.
Yes, AI is everywhere, but like any other person working in IT industry, want to jump onto it, and I was like that. And it is so huge, and it's very overwhelming. On where should I start? How do I understand what AI is, and how can I leverage, and how can I be part of AI development and make things cooler, faster, more productive for everyone, for myself as well as the company. So it was very overwhelming at the beginning. I must admit, I start one article, go through it, and then next day something new comes up. I go watch some other video about AI and AI agents, and then next day another something else comes up. So I was, it was like jumping around like a monkey, right? Every something new comes up, like and we put whatever is in our hands aside and then jump onto that shiny new thing. So this did not work. It went on for a few days, or I would say a couple of months. Then I was like, no, this is not working. I need to start from some basics, go
Mhm.
step by step. And so I just started looking at what are the basic AI terminology for me to understand the talk, what they are talking. What is an agent? What is a model? What is a LLM? What does it do? How do they interact?
Wow.
How is it different from a traditional system design or microservices development that I do day to day?
Hmm.
So once I start understanding the basic terminology, then I start relating to, okay, if I have the same use case, how would I build it in my current world, the current way of designing things, and how would it look like in the AI world?
Mm.
So it started clearing out some fog, and I uh, learned few things, but I have to implement it to see the real value. And if I had to do all of this outside of my work time, uh, getting access to all the models and have an environment where I can test this, that would take some time.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate enough that I spoke to my people leader about my interest in stepping into AI world. I want to learn, and asked him, "Do you have any opportunity where I can learn about AI and in our company that you can help me uh, try?"
Yeah.
And if I didn't have that courage, and I was just thinking, "Hey, should I be asking this to my manager or no?"
Yeah.
Then I would lose that opportunity.
Unbelievable.
So I asked him, and then my manager, Jason, he supported me and he found an opportunity that was coming in his way, and uh, he let me work on it. And now I'm developing AI agents for the company, and I'm like so excited. It's a brand new world, and there is so much possibility in making things better for companies, customers, and for ourselves. So
Incredible.
I'm truly excited working in AI space right now.
Oh, this is amazing. There's so many moments in this story that we can relate to, and so many people listening, I'm sure, can. This piece around almost the monkey mind when you first come across it. Where do I start? Oh, there's this piece. Oh, there's this piece, and then there's this platform, and there's this tool, and then there's this application, and people get highly overwhelmed. They have no idea where to start. And I love that you brought that piece of I need to understand the literacy to be able to follow the conversation, to truly understand what are we talking about and how can I really understand AI. And it's such an invitation, whether we're talking about AI, whether we're talking about finance, whether we're talking about, you know, all of these different branches in these different fields. If you cannot talk the language, if you cannot understand it, it's gonna make that process of learning and adoption far more difficult. So I love that. So I think that that's one of the first invitations I would have for our audience today is, are you looking into understanding the literacy and language of the fields you're currently interested in, but are not yet an expert at? The next piece that I love in your story is the piece around, I started to look at how I could apply it into my day-to-day. And then I had the courage to go seek out these opportunities instead of outside of my work, in a space where I was realizing, wait a minute, I was running out of time. How could I use the time I had already available to me and use that to learn, where it was a win-win for me and my organization? But that only came when I had the courage to ask for help, which I love because it's a full circle moment in our conversation. And let's just take a moment. Thank you, Jason, for this opportunity. I think, credibility and credit is so powerful and so important, as always.
Yes, so true. Like, only when you apply what you know, it's of any use. Otherwise, just by knowing something, it's not going to help anyway. Take
I
action.
love that. Yes. And it brings that conversation back to knowing and not doing anything with it is useless. It's better. It's just as bad as not knowing, really.
Yeah. So
Wow. Incredible. So I'm curious, one of my favorite questions ever to ask on the PLA podcast is all about legacy and impact. What kind of legacy and impact are you still excited to create or experience in this lifetime?
yeah, so this is an important question, right? What do I want to be known for? So I want people to remember me as a leader who is always trying to empower people around her.
Beautiful.
So I always want to empower my teams and who I'm working with instead of making them dependent on me.
Wow.
So there are several times it has happened that there are people who recommend that, hey, don't give out all the information that you know to your team members.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your job may not be secure. Okay, I've heard this at the beginning of my career. I was like, okay, but if I keep things to myself, they will always be dependent on me. And I will be spending time just giving that information and not doing anything more productive and better that will serve my career. So I don't keep anything to myself. Whatever I work, I'm always open to my teams. I give them all the tools that I have, share all the knowledge that I have, so they can run with it. They don't have to wait for me to tell them what to do. They are empowered, and that will also build that trust between the teams, and at the same time let them grow. So, and now, because I am not bound to provide that information every day, every minute, I have time for myself and learn something new
Yes.
to grow. So I always believe about empowering teams instead of keeping things to myself, and that is helping me as well and helping everyone around me.
Oh, I love this. And I think there's so many key aspects of this. One is that piece of it actually frees up a lot more time. It creates a lot more trust when your team knows that you are trusting them with information, trusting to teach them to be independent, knowing that, it's a far better ecosystem when we're empowering each and every one of our of each other, really, each and every one of ourselves through this process. And too many people and I love that you shared this, gatekeep information as a way of control in terms of trying to achieve power and influence that way, rather than actually going through the trust route, rather building true leaders build other leaders. They empower
Yes.
people to become their own leaders. And I think that's something that more than ever today is essential because of the world we live in and the level of
Yes.
awareness and consciousness that is entering business, really.
Yes. So true. And the same thing applies at home as well.
Yes.
So we are always willing and jump for our kids to help them whenever they are in a problem or they don't know how to do some things. So instead of doing it for them, help them learn how to do it. So instead of you doing it for themselves. So I'm at least consciously trying to put that in practice at home as well. So don't jump in and do it for them. Help them do it. So they next time they can do it themselves.
Wow. Shailaja,
Yeah.
incredible. Absolutely. It makes me think of you can give a man a fish, or you can teach a man to fish, and he will not live a day hungry again. Incredible. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the PLA podcast. And I'd be curious to know, what has been your biggest takeaway from the PLA experience up until now?
Yes. So personal coaching, professional coaching, it's no different. Like how you hire your gym trainer, right? Nobody thinks of it in a different way or and take it in a different light. They are just trying to guide you, show you the right direction of doing things so you can get to your goals faster and in a better way, right?
Yeah.
And professional coaching is no different.
Mm,
And then there's nothing to hide about that you are taking professional coaching. It has only helped me clear that mental blockages and understand and discover myself that, hey, what is that I want? What am I currently doing?
mm,
Is it aligning? What are my blind spots?
wow.
Help build communication, visibility, and uh, leadership. Take responsibility for your actions. And more importantly, take action. Take action. So,
Absolutely. Oh, it's such
that's it.
incredible full circle conversation. So many times the original points that you brought up from the very beginning ended up like weaving themselves through our conversation and just highlighting those points of, that awareness, it must be matched with action decision making. Without, it really isn't much awareness. Truly. I wanted to put a QR code for anyone who is curious about PLA and is wondering, where can I find out a little bit more about this PLA community? This is the QR code to the next free training. It's just the free training in itself. There is so much value that is provided by the leadership team. I've attended multiple times. So many of our PLA community members have gone multiple times just because it's mind blowing what is presented and experienced through the few days of the free training. So I would invite anyone that is curious to check out through this link over here with the QR code. If you are curious to know what is PLA, where can I get a little bit more value or information about it, you're always welcome to join, whoever you might be. Shailaja, seriously, thank you so much for the incredible conversation of today, the insights, the wisdom, the experience that you've shared. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on today.
No, same here, Dunya. It's wonderful talking to you and keeping it very simple and light and made it comfortable for me to talk as well.
Oh, it's such a pleasure, and truly looking forward to having you on again as a guest. There's so much more I want to ask you, and we will save those juicy questions for another interview. And to
Yeah.
everyone listening at home, thank you for your time, and tune in for another PLA podcast episode shortly.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Such a pleasure.